Australians have become great recyclers, but we're still throwing away mountains of food. South Korea banned the dumping of food waste 20 years ago, while up to 8 million tonnes goes into Australian landfill each year. Now a Melbourne laneway precinct is leading the way, reducing food dumping by 90%. A new technology dehydrates tonnes of scraps and turns it into a high-quality fertilizer. Here's Emily Stewart.
It's lunchtime in this bustling Melbourne laneway. Filled with trendy cafes, it produces 2.5 tonnes of food waste every week. But these scraps aren't destined for landfill. Instead, it's recycled on site.
The reason we're doing this is obviously to clean our laneways up, but the bigger picture is 250,000 tonnes of organic waste every year goes into landfill. That's enough to fill the Eureka Tower to the top.
Australia produces 13 million tonnes of organic waste every year, half of all the rubbish that goes to landfill, costing $1.6 billion. But now a revolutionary machine is turning food waste into fertiliser, and the City of Melbourne was a pioneer of the technology.
If you could picture this laneway full of bins, about 90% of the waste has been diverted from landfill. So what we've seen immediately is a clean-up of the laneway, so that's an amenity issue. Less truck movements. One of the biggest phone calls that we get as councillors is that truck that's coming down my laneway at 5 a.m, so a lot less of that as well. We've had a 40% reduction in CO2 emissions.
The program costs the City of Melbourne $300,000 annually, providing employment for 7 workers. And it's free for the 90 businesses in the area. They just walk their rubbish down to the machine a few metres away. Degraves Street is one of Melbourne's iconic cafe-filled laneways, and that's why coffee grounds make up 1/4 of all food waste here. The technology was developed in South Korea, where food waste was banned from going into landfill 20 years ago. The machine works by shredding and then heating the waste, stripping out the moisture content.
Here we see the soil food coming out. It's been processed from the raw food waste over about a 10-hour period. Because of the temperature we process it at and that time period, it means it's perfectly sterile, it's pathogen-free, but it retains the nutrients.
The council then spreads the fertiliser on parks and gardens around Melbourne. While recycling paper, plastics and green waste is now entrenched in Australian society, food waste recycling is a new industry tackling a huge problem.
Food waste is a massive problem. We generate in the vicinity of between 10 and 15 million tonnes of organic waste per annum, and out of that, 60% of it would be food waste.
Eco Guardians is the biggest player. So far, it has supplied 30 machines to hospitals, prisons, markets and mine sites where lots of scraps go to landfill. And the next big target is households in inner-city, high-density apartments.
In apartment living, composting is not always great because there's a little bit of odour and stuff associated with it. So they're looking for an inbuilt solution that all the residents could be able to utilise.
Sharif Hassan is one of the 90 businesses using the technology. He says it's a good start, but business should be doing more on food recycling.
It's much better. You can walk past and there's no smell. It's clean. You're actually willing to go there and spend time you having your coffee. So more people coming in, more tourists coming in, and it's much cleaner.
Waste management that's good for business and a win for sustainability.